McCausland, can you please take roll?
Mrs. Feiss?
Here.
Mr. Grisbeck?
Here.
Mrs. Janisick?
Here.
Mrs. Hoppy?
Here.
Mr. McGregor?
Here.
Mr. Modrak?
Here.
Mr. Scalzo? Here. Mrs. Turner?
Here.
Mr. Christensen?
Here.
All 9 members present.
Thank you. I'd like to announce an executive session that we had earlier this evening for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information. Are there any public comments on the agenda items? Yeah, come to the mic. Come to the microphone right here. Go ahead.
Thank
2
you.
minutes.
Good evening. My name is Damian Wirtz. I'm a resident of Bethel Park. I live on Bethel Church Road, just a few feet away. I would like to take a few minutes to voice my strong support for an item on the agenda this evening, item Echo 1, the resolution to provide a universal school meal program. Quite frankly, in America, it is a silent epidemic of children and food scarcity. From 2007 to 2019, most data suggests that children food scarcity was on the way down. It was trending in the right direction. That stopped, of course, in 2019 once COVID hit. The double hit of COVID and inflation now have most estimates saying that nearly 1 in 5 children in America experience some form of food scarcity or food insecurity. In a country as prosperous as America, that statistic should feel both shocking and shameful. We have the ability and the capability to do something about it, though. Programs that were enacted during COVID that allowed for universal school meals reversed that trend. By most estimates, over 10 million children who had been suffering from food insecurity or food scarcity were raised out of it. And not only does this help children, but it also helps the parents, either parents who are struggling to make ends meet, either parents who are struggling to find the time, or even parents like me who forgot to buy sandwich bread last week and didn't have anything to make for lunch. It helps the entire community. It helps our current community and our future community. And I'd like to end on this. Many of the issues that we focus on as a community are intractable or seemingly intractable. They're hard to fix. We don't know what the answer is. In the case of childhood food scarcity and insecurity, we do have an answer. Programs such as this, programs such as a universal school meal program, gets results, alleviates children out of this situation, and betters the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a little bit of clarity. We'll have more discussion on this later, but this resolution isn't for us to fund these meals. It's to support the state action that's going on in this area. So I think everything you said should be directed to our state representatives and senators. We're just supporting what's in motion, or that's what we'll be discussing. Any other public comments? Okay, let's move into the committee items. Mr. McGregor, can you take the Personnel Committee again for everybody playing at home?
Okay,
This is to we're going to review and then suggest what items go on the consent agenda.
Okay, for today, there are 6 items. Approval of Extra Duty Responsibility Program, 22-23. Acceptance of resignations. Number 3, appointment of personnel. Number 4, approval of unpaid leave of absence. Number 5, attainment of status and professional employee. And 6, establish security officer rates for summer events. Any discussion?
I have one question on number 1. These are for this school year. They're for the full thing. Did we just miss them? Were they not presented in the beginning of last year? How did we not?
Yes, this is for this school year. It was caught that when we needed to pay the individuals that they were never board approved, so we put them on to get them paid for this year.
Okay, thank you.
Question about number 2. We have a lot of special education paraprofessionals retiring on the agenda tonight. How are we looking in that category moving forward for being appropriately staffed?
Those are ongoing discussions. We actually have a couple meetings this week to discuss the the retirements because we just recently received those retirement letters. And we might receive a couple more. May 1st is the deadline for that paraprofessional group, so they are starting to come in. So we wanted to make sure we got them on the agenda, but this week we are having discussions about
Okay.
what it looks going forward.
So that's the likely reason why so many at one time it was butting up near a deadline for them?
Correct. So
Okay.
May 1st, they have, in their contract, they have an incentive for retirement this year. So May 1st is the deadline, so that's why they're all coming in right now.
Understood, thank you.
Yep.
So in the years I've been on the board, this is how it happens all the time. This is when the supply side of the equation gets worked out, and we determine who's going to retire. In the next month, they'll have to determine what's the demand side, and then figure out what the net hiring we need to do. Any other questions on this topic? Anybody want any withheld from the consent agenda?
I have
Okay.
a question. I have
Oh.
one question. Mr. Puccineri, the question is, if you get more of the resignation, since it is May 1st and we're butting up against that, they will be put in separately. They will not be, for the public's, they will not be on the consent agenda, correct?
Correct. So they'll be on next week's agenda, and not in the consent. So there'll be a separate item for next week. And there's a good possibility with May 1st being the deadline, we might get some in May as well. So we won't have them all for next week as well.
Okay, there was no curriculum. Things must be running smooth. Wow, okay. So facilities, Mr. Modrak.
Mr. Christensen, I wonder if we could consider scheduling a curriculum committee meeting, because we had our curriculum council
Yeah.
last week, and there's quite a number of items that will be coming before the board for approval. We were thinking maybe we do a 5 o'clock curriculum committee and then the 7 o'clock facilities committee in the beginning of May, when we're already scheduled to be in session.
Sure. Everybody else agree? Okay, Mr. Modrak, facilities?
Yes, sir. There are two items tonight on facilities. One, the approval of a proposal for professional engineering and survey services. This involved a fee of $30,800 for traffic engineering services, going with Herbert, Rowland, and Grubik Incorporated. The second item is an authorization to bid. Oh, I don't like this one, finally. Yeah. To authorize the bidding of the base and utility scope of work for the installation of the modular restroom, storage, and concession stand facility for the high school practice fields. Yes. Hear, hear. Are there any questions on any of the two items?
Again,
We're going to name that?
We're going to auction off the.
are we going to auction off the name of what that restroom
Yes.
facility is? The question is, we've already approved the restroom, so this is the work to preliminarily,
Right, so the area where they're located already has utilities, so this will just sort of set the utilities in the right spot according to the specifications of the incoming modulars, and get those ready, and then lay the foundation, set the foundation underneath so they can be delivered and installed. The work will exceed we anticipate the work will exceed the threshold by which things have to be publicly bid.
okay. Thank you. This is way overdue from a parent that's been around with a high school student in those fields, so thank you.
Does anyone want any of these held out from the consent agenda? Okay, just add those. Mr. Grisbeck, can you take the finance items?
I can. We have 9 items tonight under the Finance Committee agenda. Item number 1, April 2023 salaries and bills. 2, March 2023 financial report. 3, budgetary transfers. 4, payment for Independence Middle School Phase 1 renovations to the tune of $202,480 to Site Logic for Phase 1 of the Giza project. Item number 5, acceptance of the Remake Learning Days Mini Grant for $200 to purchase Lego Botany sets. Item number 6, approval of student services contract to ratify the student services contracts with Transformation Learning Center as an educational placement option for students. Pathways Human Services of PA and Intermediate Unit 1. Item number 7, payment for the new K-5 elementary school project to HRG Inc. for $19,562.87. Item number 8, purchase of content management system in the amount of $18,634. This amount includes a one-time fee of $4,000. This is a 3-year contract. Number 9, approval of purchase for parent notification system. Purchasing that from Parent Square Inc. at a cost of $20,816.40 and an onboarding fee of $1,500 for a total cost of $22,316.40. Does anyone have any questions on any of those items or want anything held out?
Could you let us know about number 8 and 9, what those are about, or if somebody could, whoever.
For sure. Actually, I'm going to ask Mr. Cromie to address this because it's something he's been promising us for about 7 or 8 months. A long time coming, but through a serious vetting process, you've
Yep.
reached a decision about our new website provider.
Yeah, so Bethel Park's website has long needed to be replaced. So we went through a pretty serious process where we talked to a number of internal stakeholders, also spoke with different stakeholders that have used these various products. And we have settled on a company called Edlio. And Edlio, the reason we picked Edlio we spoke with 27 different vendors. The reason we picked them was because they were the best as far as, they had really strong recommendations from people that had used them. Also, they met kind of what some of our priorities were, which were responsive design, certainly mobile friendly, and also strong in areas that we know are heavily visited for our website, things like our directory, which I think right now is not one of our strong points, lunch menus, sports schedules, things like that. So we're very excited about it. Also, Edlio works well with some other programs. We're also likely to change our notification system from School Messenger to Parent Square, and Edlio and Parent Square work together often and work well together. So very excited about it. I think it'll give Bethel Park a more modern look, certainly more responsive, a sleeker design on the website, and something that's perhaps a little bit more navigable. So all those things are things that we've badly needed, and those are things that we've worked really hard to make sure that we've gotten the right one, and I'm very excited that we have.
You have a
So that
timeline,
was-
Mr. Cromie, on your?
Yeah, so it's about a 12-week migration period. Now, we have a dual charge, and that is one of my goals is to also pare down. Right now, our website is bloated, and what that does is that's information inflation, and it becomes harder and harder to get the key information that people want. So we have to, we'll be closer to the 12-week period for the migration because we're going to migrate the information that we need and maybe lose some of the information that we don't. And frankly, it's like cleaning out a garage. You got to go through it pretty piecemeal and figure out how we're going to use it and how are we going to repurpose some of this information. So we've got some ideas. I'm certainly open. We haven't started the infrastructure yet. We have plans to talk to students. Certainly intend to talk to some PTO members who are interested in it. And of course, if any school board members or administrators has any thoughts on something that that's a must-have, I'm happy to include those as well. But I think the nice thing with Edlio is they're such a strong and robust company that we can come up with something that will be much more dynamic and modern looking than what we currently have. So I'm thrilled. It has not been an easy or a short process, but I'm relieved to be that part's over, and hopefully we can get on to the next one and have hopefully a website that's the envy of Western Pennsylvania.
Okay. So you answered my question. When I read this in the agenda, I just saw the CMS, the content management system, but this is the website and the content management
It is,
system, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually even more than that. There's also some notification services in it as well.
Okay.
And also it'll change the way, like, for example, we do our newsletter. Our newsletter right now is a wall of words. And this will have photos, this will be more modern.
responsive?
More
So you can
responsive.
read it on
It'll
your
be
phone?
completely responsive, yep. And like I said, we know through our analytics that the primary way that most people are interfacing with our website is on their cell phones, and our current website does not really give us that. And so that's been something that's really been a priority. So all of the finalists that we talked to were good at that. And it is my understanding that Bethel Park has not changed its website since 2011, which is a long time. So it just was time, and it's something it's daunting, but it's also really exciting, and I'll be very happy to get it out.
Thank you.
Me too.
Can I ask just a question really quickly? This parent notification system, would it like come across if a parent signs up for it or something, come across like a text message or something, like a way to get them information actually to their faces so they don't have to go looking for it?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, we'll have, so the current one that we use as our primary notification system is School Messenger. And School Messenger, there was a time where it really fit our needs really well, but those things have changed. What this will allow us to do is not only at the district level, but it could also replace like the Remind app and Class Dojo, where we have one set where parents have to learn one system, and so that and teachers have to learn one system, and it's flexible enough to give everyone what they need. That's part of what has taken so much time, is to make sure that I'm trying to make it so that people are not giving up anything and they're gaining.
Yeah.
And that's been a big part of the process, and why I think we've been very thorough and very thoughtful in it, but certainly deliberate.
Cool. That's why you're the best.
All right. All right.
As you implement it, think mobile first. I mean, that's how a lot of websites are developed today, mobile first, because it's easy to display on a 4K monitor, so.
Yeah, that's been our charge to any of the companies that have done with us, is we know through the analytics that they show it to you on a desktop, and it looks great, but that's not practical. It's not the world we live in now.
Yeah.
So it's something that we've talked a lot about, and I've learned a lot throughout this process. I've learned different things, and my initial preferences changed as I've learned, and I think it's something that, like I said, it's really exciting. I think it'll be wonderful for Bethel Park. We hope to have it up by midsummer, and I know it'll be a work in progress as we tinker with it, but it'll certainly, I believe it'll certainly mark a major improvement over what we currently have.
So I guess the question that Ms. Janicek had, how does that integrate with number 9?
Which one's, I'm sorry.
That is the notification system?
Yeah, Parent Square, so they're kind of together. So Parent Square is the more robust one. Parent Square is what's replacing School Messenger.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. And hopefully Dojo, Remind app, et cetera, like some of our other things. So it'll be something, as I've sat through it, they blew me away. They were very, very strong. I think it's something that it'll be, some of the challenges we have in our current system should go away. Now, it is similar, though, that it's not, some systems believe in signing up for it. This is automatic. You're automatically on it if you're in our SIS. So that's something that is important. That way people are getting that information. And what this allows us to do is reach people naturally outside of our SIS who still want to be informed of Bethel Park news. So it's much more modern. It's something that I think will be a significant upgrade for Bethel Park.
Good.
Does anyone have any other questions?
I do. One question for you, Mr. Cromie.
Yes.
With the parent notification system, is that just with like administrative type announcements for the whole district, or will coaches be able to kind of, will it segregate
It will.
into little?
One of the reasons why we chose this is really it can be as granular as school bus number 23, and it can classrooms, different subgroups, maybe all the boys in class number 16 at Memorial. Like that's something that we hopefully, I haven't learned how to do it yet, but it's something that they've shown us. And in talking to other groups that have used them, the endorsements were very strong. So I'm pretty excited. Like I said, I know that I'm looking at a long summer, but it's also an exciting time.
So I can get rid of the 4 apps on my phone that we use for.
Exactly. Well, that's kind of the point, right? Yes. Start.
Sorry, I have one more question. In that, are we going to do teacher training? Because as like Ms. Hobby said, I have Class Dojo on my thing, I have Game Change on my thing, I have Team Snap on my phone, I have this, I have that. There are 19 different ways, and in high school, you have your own for every sport, varsity sport your child plays. They all have their own, Remind, whatever else. So my question is, are we going to teach the faculty and staff how to use this in a training so that there is a smoother process and there's no hiccups and we're not still using 9 different?
Well, I can't promise no hiccups because I haven't done it yet. But certainly we intend to do it. In fact, one of the reasons why we chose the companies that we chose is they offer unlimited training on their end. It's not a train the trainer concept. It's direct training from the experts. So certainly we're willing to train them through what we do, but we also, they have unlimited support. And that's something that was very exciting. And frankly, that's one of the reasons why we chose one of our vendors over another, was that difference. One charged for support and the other one did not.
Those of us that have children in activities and those kinds of things will be thanking you because one coach uses Team Snap, one coach uses Game Change, one coach
Exactly.
uses Remind, and you got to remember them all.
Well, 100%. And the other thing is, what this will allow us to do is parents on their end, they'll be able to opt out of different things. So let's say you have a 3rd grader, a 7th grader, and a 10th grader. You'd have news that only went to that. Right now, it's kind of an all or nothing model, where if you opt out of messages, you're opting out of everything. This should give you greater flexibility within that. So again, that was part. There are so many opportunities within both of these that are very exciting, and I have to learn those systems before I can speak more expertly on them.
All right. Any further discussion from anyone? Okay, I move those 9 items to the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. And other, we have 4 items. Maybe we'll handle it this way since this resolution is on there. Items 2 and 3 are student settlement agreements. Anybody have any issue with moving those automatically to the consent agenda? Number 4 is the selection of a voting delegate for PSBA. Mrs. Janasek, that'll be you. Any issues with inserting Mrs. Janasek's name in that and then moving it to the consent agenda?
We do qualify for 3 voting delegates as a district of our size, so if there's others that wanted to participate, it's a virtual event in November or October?
It's Saturday, November 4th. And last year, it was the whole morning, and you attend via Zoom. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else interested then? We can have 2 more. Anybody else interested? Okay. Okay, item number 1 then, the resolution to provide universal school meal. I think, Mr. Gresbeck, you provided this resolution or developed it or something and had shared it. And I think from the public comments, we kind of heard the point of it. I guess maybe just start out the discussion. I mean, the concept's simple. Everybody gets, the school meals are paid, breakfast, lunch, et cetera. I guess, what do we know about the proposal regarding the obligation on us? I think that's important to understand. Is this a mandate they're going to pass and we have to pick up all the cost? Are they going to pick up the cost? I mean,
Sure.
Where does that come from?
Yep.
Because I think that's important to understand.
I believe the motion, as it's made for the resolution, is not in public content, right? So the public is not able to view the whole resolution. At least that's how it's showing up on my end. It's showing up under administrative on my end, which is fine. I can go ahead and just give the public a brief overview. So what the resolution that I proposed basically does is it supports House Bill 180 and Senate Bill 180. And those are 2 bills to create a universal school meals program. So they would create free meals for all Pennsylvania students in public schools, charter schools, also private schools, for both breakfast and for lunch. The way that it's funded is it initially starts out with an initial $275 million of funding from the general fund. for the state of Pennsylvania. And then it would be continually funded by the state after that, regardless of, which particular fund they want to pull out of. There's a lot of verbiage to that in the bill, but it would not be paid by the individual school district. We would still continue filling out the same forms that are currently filled out to get the federal assistance for those who qualify for free meals in that regard. So that would be the first step. Any money that's provided from the federal government would be provided, and then the state would go ahead and pick up the rest of the tab for all lunches and for breakfast. Trying to think of other details. So right now, I think that the big detail that kind of struck out to me was that people only qualify. So for example, a family of 4, they'd have to be making less than $36,075 to qualify. So to me, that's an incredibly low amount of money to have to be under to qualify for free school meals. They also have to fill out the necessary paperwork. Unfortunately, there are a lot of students whose parents or caregivers are not going to go through that effort to fill out the paperwork. So having free school meals could be a barrier to them for that reason. And I think we've seen at several past meetings where we've had people in the community who were kind enough to pick up the tab and pay for some of the money that students owe in their school lunch and breakfast bills. But I personally don't think that that should be necessary. I think that students shouldn't have to worry about that on a day-to-day basis, and they should just be able to have those meals provided for them. So basically what this resolution will be doing, it would be expressing the board support for those bills, Senate Bill 180 and House Bill 180, and it would be encouraging our state representative and our state Senate to co-sponsor and vote in favor of them. Right now, neither are currently on the co-sponsor list. I'm happy to answer any questions about details. I don't know all the details, but hopefully I can answer questions.
We currently provide free breakfast.
So right now, Governor Wolf's budget last session does provide free breakfast for this year. It will run out for next year. Governor Shapiro has currently expressed interest in re-adding that on for breakfast, but there haven't been any discussions about free lunch yet. So, I mean, obviously, the House, Senate, Shapiro would have to all agree to that new budget for free breakfast. But yes, it does look like that could be on the table again.
Okay, my question is, so we're going to be in a budget line item out of the general fund, or is it just going to be, because a budget line item almost guarantees every school district the money. If
Right.
it is said to be out of the general fund, 3 years from now, there's no guarantee that everybody gets free breakfast and free
I'll double check
lunch.
on that and get back to you.
And I couldn't
wasn't
find
able-
it in the bills when I looked yesterday.
I remember the initial contribution to the program was, I believe it's kind of like a separate budget, and the initial contribution was that $275 million. But one, I don't know what the exact yearly cost will be. I was able to find that the yearly breakfast cost proposed by Shapiro this year was $38.5 million. I would assume that you're probably looking at about double that. So to your point, that might give us 3 years of funding. I can reach out to the sponsors and co-sponsors of that bill and see the more granular details.
Like I said, I couldn't find it in the bill, and that was my only concern, because we all know if it just comes out of the general fund, it's not continuous. If you end up getting a line item for that in the general fund, so,
For sure.
and I didn't see that. I know Megan just pulled up the bill because we were all looking for it. So hopefully she can answer some of that.
Yeah, I'll try to have that for you next week if we choose to put this on, because right now this is just a discussion item, so it's not really a consent agenda item.
Yeah, I
per
mean,
se.
my question is more around timing. I think it's a great idea, but I'm just wondering on timing, does it make sense to wait till the bill is further developed, when it's kind of ready?
So the bills are already drafted. I mean, the bills are already proposed to their particular committees, so I think it's a perfect time right now as they go through, because, I mean, it's no guarantee that the bills even make it out of committee. So I think supporting them as early as possible and getting as much support behind them as early as possible most greatly increases their chance of success. There is some, I guess, just for like a why would I, do this? That was kind of the exact thing. I saw these come up. Also worked with the School Nutrition Association in Pennsylvania. They had kind of have a general template form for school districts who may want to support this legislation, because that's kind of their entire thing is school nutrition.
If you could find out a little bit more around the timing
Sure.
of when a vote could take place, or where this is in the bill life cycle, because I think timing is important. Like, you don't want to send this to somebody 2 months before it's going to come across their desk. They'll forget about it, So I think timing is important in something like this.
Okay. Yeah, and the last thing I was going to say is that this is very similar in what the district has done previously calling for charter school reform. So it's kind of a similar request in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with it at all. It
No,
just-
I fully support this. I fully believe that we have kids that may get something before they go to before-school care, and we need to, they'll never make it through to lunch.
Right.
And that's been a concern for a while, so I fully support it. Like I said, I was still seeing drafts of some of that, so if we can tidy up some of that, just to answer even the general public's questions. And I'd really love to see an amendment that says this is a line item.
So is the request then to find out a rough timeline for which it is likely to come up in committee prior to voting on it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and I shared out, Megan didn't have access to the resolution, so I sent her a copy. I think it'd be good to have her take a look at it also.
Sounds good. Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention was all the numbers in there in terms of Bethel Park, kind of individual costs for a student, yearly costs, things like that, all came from our food service director, Brandon Agostinelli. I apologize if I butchered your name, Brandon, if you're listening.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, I would say that let's leave this one off. Let's see how all the information comes together. You can still be on the, I don't know how to work. If we find out something that, for instance, maybe timing does make sense to
Right.
wait another month or something like that. Or, I guess we can just, from a parliamentary procedure standpoint, we can just vote to, not rescind, but.
We don't have to vote on anything. It's just a discussion item.
Okay.
The one thing I would say is that if it does end up being time sensitive in that, it does make sense for a vote at our meeting next week. I think regardless, I'll provide an update to you since I think you were the most concerned about kind of timing and things like that. But regardless, I'll provide an update to both the board and the public at next week's meeting as well, even if it is not on the agenda at that point in time.
Yeah, okay, good.
Just one request. Can there be some citations of some of the studies that were done, just so we can kind of take a look at the data ourselves and kind of look at those stats? I think it'd just be helpful, just to see it with our own eyes. Trust but verify. kind
Sure.
of
What studies are you?
So in the resolution, it talks.
You're talking about like general attainment and things like that?
Yes.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Yes.
I've got a couple of those handy that I can send to you.
Great.
And I can just also cite the author and date if that would be good.
That'd be great. Thank
Cool.
you.
Can I ask a question? If there is a deadline and we don't have it on the consent, or we don't put it on the consent agenda, and there's a deadline and we want to move forward, are we going to have time to do that?
No, we could still make a motion
Okay.
to approve it.
All right, cool. So when he
I
sends
mean, we
out
do that
his
all the
stuff, we
time
can
with
just-
things that aren't on the consent agenda.
All right.
Right, as long as we have it publicly listed in our
Right.
agenda. All of our meetings are already listed publicly in terms of their time, so any of them could, like this could be a voting meeting if we would have had an item clearly, dictated as such, released to the public in advance of the meeting.
And I think maybe just put it as an update, and then we can always move it out of the update and into a voting situation.
Sounds good.
If it's needed.
that'd be sufficient for sunshine
Yeah.
purposes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Will
Okay.
do.
That's the way we'll handle it. Okay, so that's the end of our committee agenda. Any public comments on anything else related to school matters?
I have something pretty exciting. Mason Miller, who's a 2016 graduate, tonight was called up to the major leagues. He's going to pitch for the Oakland A's tomorrow. He'll be the first Bethel Park student athlete to ever play in the major leagues. So,
I saw some of his stats were pretty mind-boggling for anyone who's.
I'm
oh,
going to ask you to take out any campaign information from this room.
What can't I bring in?
Campaign information.
Oh, I'm
Please take it out.
sorry. I apologize. I kind of did something on the other side, because this is in
Please
my-
remove campaign information from the
Okay,
room.
sounds
It's
good.
not an area to campaign.
Some of his stats were very impressive. He was averaging over 100 miles an hour over 5 innings. His K-9 rating was over 2. So for anyone who's a baseball geek out there, those are incredibly impressive numbers. So hopefully he'll have some success.
What team did you say?
The athletics, correct?
Yeah, Oakland Athletics. He was actually a diabetic that was late diagnosed. Once he was diagnosed, he lost a lot of weight, and he's just developed incredible arm strength. Like Mr. Grisbeck is saying, he averaged 100 miles per hour in his first start in AAA, which is mind-boggling. So
Yeah.
this is very exciting for Bethel Park.
It's been a little bit out on social media today about it, and it's just amazing to watch his progression. You know, he went after his dream.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Hi, Holly Lesak. I almost said Sappy. Holly Lesak, 880 Hershire Drive. I would like to propose once again to remove religion and politics from the schools because it does nothing but upset people and discriminate and causes controversy. So Jesus has risen Easter Sunday, and we went back to school Tuesday, so I kind of did something. I put this up at Neil Armstrong Middle School under a little tree with flowers and thought it was appropriate because I see this mini flag up there, Neil Armstrong, for like quite a few years now. BU Rainbow Black Flag. If they can represent what they want to represent, can't we all? You're discriminating. Whoops, you're discriminating. The candidate's interested in running for school board. Anyway, so I think that if you're going to leave this up, then you should leave this up and Ramadan that was on the Bethel Park School District page. That was, someone put that up, not sure who, but Ramadan, okay? That's all fine and good if you're going to put Ramadan up, but what about Jesus Christ? And what about everybody else, right? What about everybody else's God? I'm just trying to make things fair here because it's really upsetting me. And I may pull my kid next year from Neil Armstrong. I'm thinking of homeschooling. I'm not interested in going through all of this for another year, so we have to make sure we vote for the right people for school board, and that's you guys up there, the 5 up there. In the Bible, demons refer to themselves as they, them, we, us. Okay? Some of the teachers at Neil Armstrong are teaching this to their students, and the children are represented as a they, them. And it's not okay. We are he or she, especially at that age. If you're going to be a they, them at 25, go for it, but not at 11 years old. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to have my child part of that. They're getting all confused. They're getting confused. They didn't know what to say when, I've spoke to some of the friends of my son, and he's like, I don't know what they, them is. I don't know. I'm just doing it because I'm supposed to, because
Okay,
the
you
teacher
need
told me
You
to.
need to finish up.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Have a great day. Thank you. And thanks for having me.
Any other comments? Oh, yes,
Sorry.
please.
Hi, Sandy Blackmore, 3540 Valley Drive. Mr. Cromie, thank you. I think our website does need to be updated. I just had a question, like, how will the staff sign up? Like, if you don't live in the district, but you work in the district, will we also be able to get onto what's happening in the district?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's been a priority.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Any board comments? Quiet bunch tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Meeting adjourned.